Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So right now I'm going to try to solve some more tactics, and since the last time I haven't done anything like a tactical solving. So we stopped at 1871 and last time I believe I was fairly drunk at the end of the last video, and still I managed to get someone right. At least I have failed at 19 and passed at 222, and I would say that is a win for me overall. But still, my rating is still not there yet, so I'm going to keep on going and see how far I can get. So let's start with the first puzzle. Knight captures e4, so threatening my h4 knight. And if I capture on g6, then he can capture on c3, threatening to take my queen. And then I can capture on e7 with check. And then after he captures back, I can take on c3. And that means I win a piece, don't I? So these three is going to get captured, or at least the one on e4, and the knight on c3 and the knight on h4 is gonna vanish as well. So that means 3 for 2, and that is what I want. So let's just do this. And problem solved, I believe. Yes. Okay. The passing rate of this is 50%. That's quite low, actually. That's really low. That's weird. But okay, next one. Rook to d5, trying to exploit my queen and rook somehow. But if I play rook f8 check, he has only one legal move. Bishop captures f8, and then queen to f4 is a checkmate. So I'm going to do that. And problem solved. Alright. That one was actually quite easy to be a 1915 rated puzzle. And the target time was 27 seconds. I did it in 26, but I also explained to you guys why I did what I did. So that means that I could have done it, I think, at least a bit faster. And this too has only a pass rate of 50%. That's weird. Alright, next one. King e8. Alright. So I want to mate my opponent with bishop to f6, followed by rook d8. Checkmate. But he has rook to h2, or capturing h2 with a check. And what does happen after I play bishop to f6? That is the question, because of the check on h2. So king g1, then rook h1 check, king f2, rook 4 to h2 check, king e3, rook e1 check, king d4 seems illogical. So king f4, rook f1 check, or rook h4 check then. And now the king can't go to e5 due to rook captures e4 check. Either rook, actually. So it doesn't seem to work that way. I could play king to g1 first though, but then he has this f6 move. And I don't want him to play f6 because I want that pawn to kind of trap the black king inside of his own chambers, right? So bishop f6 check, not check, bishop f6, rook h2 check, king g1, rook h1 check, king f2, rook 4 h2 check, king e3, rook e1 check, then king if king f4 and rook h4, then king g5. Alright, I think that's it. And problem solved. Okay. So why does this work? I'll just look at the analysis board. I'm pretty sure that my king will escape, but still. Let's just go here. King f2, rook 4 h2 probably. Rook 1 h2. Alright. No rook 4 h2. And then king e3. King e3, yeah. He agrees with me. That's nice. And rook h3. Alright, rook h3. Check. King f4. Only move. If the king goes to the d file, then rook to d1. Well, of course I could play king to d2, but then he has rook 1 cap to h2, and then my king would have to go back to the first rank. So king f4, and then rook h4 check, okay. And then king to e5. King g5. Doesn't king e5 just work? Alright, everything works here apparently. But alright, king g3 also works. So I could capture the rook, but let's say we go to e5. Alright, rook captures e4. Okay, that's just game over anyways. Alright, so I was right. The king goes out, but there are so many ways to roam here, and so many things that win after bishop f6 that it didn't go on. The puzzle just stopped there, and that is fair actually. If we would have continued with rook captures h2, king g1, and rook h1, then I believe in king g2 works in that case. So I think the computer said that it was almost equal. So it would be weird to actually follow this up. I agree with the puzzle on this one. Queen captures e4. Alright. Now I have several choices here. I have queen e6 check, which is really forcing. I have bishop h5 check. And I have rook captures e5, which I will immediately say that is not going to work. Alright, queen e6 check, king f8. And then rook captures f6 check. Would be nice, but the knight can capture then. But then I have bishop to c5 check, which is going to lead to mate. So after queen e6 check, king f8, rook captures f6. If the bishop captures, what then? What if the bishop captures? Well, if the pawn captures, it's going to get it's going to lead to mate, with bishop h6. So the bishop capture on f6 is what I'm currently looking at. So what is going on there? Simply queen d6? Nah, that doesn't seem to work. Bishop c5, knight captures c5. Then still nothing. So what about queen e6 check, king f8, rook captures e5? Well, the queen could capture there though. Alright, so bishop h5 check. If king e7, maybe bishop c5 check. No, it doesn't seem to work. And I can just go back after it captures on c5. Bishop h5 check, g6 is mating. So bishop h5, king e7. I don't see it. And I mean, the most forcing move is queen to e6 check, because the king has to react to that, and the only move is king f8. But I don't see where to go from there on. Queen e6, king f8. I don't see anything after king e7 on bishop h5, so queen e6 check, king f8. What are my other options? Then rook captures e5 or rook captures f6. So queen e6, what about just bishop h5 then? That seems to work. Okay, so queen e6 check, king f8, bishop h5. What is black gonna do? If he plays g6, then bishop h6 is mate. And he can't protect f7. Let's do it. Problem solved, okay. And yeah, if g6, then bishop h6 is mate. Let's go to the next one. Oh, only 26% of the people who tried this has passed. Whoa. But it's kind of high rated. It's 2,157. So I guess that's high. All right, now let's go to the next one. Queen captures a4. So I believe this has something to do with the threat of both a mate and the queen. So I can play knight to d6. If the queen captures my queen, then I have knight to f7, which mates black. And if it tries with, let's say, queen d7, but I can still play that. I win the queen for a knight, and I have a rook and a queen versus two bishops and a rook. So I'm not gonna think about this too much. Or am I? Because queen to b4 check seems to be not winning due to queen captures b4. Okay. Does he have any other checks that might concern me? I don't see it. Bishop e3 doesn't do anything. Alright, I'm gonna go here. And he just takes there. Alright, I'm still gonna do that. So he wins a pawn for it at least, but still, that's just not good enough. Alright, next one. Queen to b4. What's up with this? I can play bishop c6, but after g4, bishop captures h1, pawn captures f5. I'm kind of almost getting mated here, and I don't like that. So bishop c6, b4, knight a6, knight a6 just gets the queen out of the diagonal, and then I can move my knight, and the queen can't really do anything to help out from defending the h1 rook or the bishop on t2 or a knight on f3. So I'm going to do that. Yes. Okay, problem solved. But let's see what I meant by this. So here, if he goes g4, castling queenside is actually the best move, it says. But g4, that was what I was concerned about. Okay, queen h4 is also a move actually. But I was thinking just knight a6. Knight a6. Yeah, okay, the computer agrees with me. Knight a6 is the best move. And now queen c3 and then just move the knight away probably. Or queen h4 first. Alright. Yeah, this is just winning. The white queen doesn't have anything to do and it's just hopelessly lost. Wow, okay, queen captures g4 check. I think that is actually unnecessary. But it says that it's like way better than anything else. Alright. Let's go to the next one. Queen captures f5. Alright. I have some discoveries, that's for sure. So let's say knight e6 check. The queen can come to g7 if the king goes to either h8, h7 or h6. But the problem is, if it goes to h6, I don't see a mate. Knight f6 check, king h6, queen g7 check, king h5. Bishop d1 check, knight g4, bishop captures d4, queen captures d4, and then queen h7 or h6 even, queen h6 check. No, queen, that just loses the queen. But queen h7 check, and the queen has to go in. No, the queen can't go in. Okay, so that's mate. I believe that's mate. All right, let's go here, and then here, and then here. And I said bishop captures g4, but let's just double check that. Bishop captures g4, queen captures g4, queen h7 is mate. But what happens if, yeah, no, the king can't capture on g4. But what happens if king h4? Then just g3 check, probably. But let's take anyways. Alright, problem solved. Okay, next one. Bishop d2. Okay. So, if I play my queen to c5, I will win one of the pieces, won't I? I mean, he can't defend both t4 and c4 at the same time. Can he? No, I don't see it. So queen c5 is my main move, but Yeah, if I play something like bishop b4, then he can just play c3 first, kick my bishop away, and then he can move one of his pieces out of the way. So that won't work. So I'm going to play queen c5. I don't see any checks. I don't see anything that wins anything more sufficient than that. So let's just go there. Yeah, problem solved. All right. So queen c7, threatening mate in 1. Knight c5 seems like the only... No, the knight can't move. That's... Alright, so queen e3 seems like the only move, actually. Queen e3 check, but after king h1... After king h1, then I can play knight c5, just protecting the b7 pawn. That's true. And then the rook can't come to c1 and attack that knight either. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Because I don't have anything to put in between, and I can't play d5. The bishop would just capture there. So I'm going to go here. Problem solved. Alright. And I'm surprised that the passing rate is 50%. It seems a bit weird though, because there aren't many alternatives. If you move the knight straight away, you lose the queen, and if you do anything else, you get mated. The b8 mate from the queen is not a real threat, because I have 2 rooks on the 8th rank, so that's not the main concern in this position. So I only have to consider protecting the b7 pawn, and if it weren't for that knight, I would be doomed. Well, if the knight weren't there, I would actually just take that queen, of course. But alright. Let's go for 2 or 3 more. g4, okay. White to move. So I could play g6 here. After g3, g7, g2, g8 queen. But then what? He still has way more than me. I don't think that I can stop that pawn. b6, g3, b7, g2, b8 queen. The king can go to... Well, the rook can come back to e8. 2. Or the bishop can go back to e8. So there are a lot of alternatives here for black. But if I could somehow, after he moves his king or moves a piece in the way, just get my queen to capture that g2 pawn, then I think I would be okay. So if the king goes to f7, then what? Then queen to c7 check. And if the king goes to f6, then queen to f4 check. Bishop f5. It's kind of hard to actually see how I'm going to get that g2 pawn. Queen f4, bishop g5. Bishop captures e5, rook captures e5. Queen d6 check. Rook to e6. Queen f8 check. King g6. Queen g8 check. Okay, so it's actually going to work out if that happens. But there are a lot of options for black. He doesn't have to move his king. He can play rook e8, outright queen. And if I take, bishop captures back. Or, he has to capture back because it's with a check. So queen captures e8, bishop captures e8. And then queen c4 check doesn't work. But maybe I have queen d4 there. Okay, I'm gonna go with it. I'm really gonna... Or am I? I can also capture that knight, preventing the pawn from promoting or going forward, and then if the bishop captures, then I can just take that pawn. I like that. Bishop captures e5, bishop captures e5, and then b6. But then the bishop is controlling the b8 square. Okay, I'm going to do this. So he doesn't even bother with playing g3 himself. I don't see the reasoning for that, but probably there's something. So b7. I'm going to do that. Problem solved. Okay. So I spent a lot of time on this puzzle, but I managed to get it. So right now I'm actually trying to solve for accuracy, of course, but in this puzzle there were a lot of options for white to consider on black side. Like he had king to f7, king h7, rook e8, bishop e8. And there were a lot of different things, but I think that I found the good way to deal with it. All right, next one. Rook a6. So the most forcing move would be rook h1, probably. Rook h1 check, king g6. But then, what do I play? Okay, I don't think that's gonna work. So what about bishop to g5 first? Bishop captures g5. If the bishop captures back, then the rook captures, and it's just made in 2 or 3 if the king goes to h6. And if the bishop doesn't capture, let's say rook g8, then I have rook h1 check. The king has to move out on the g file, and then bishop captures e7 check, wins material. So I think I'm going to do that. And let's say f6, then I'll probably just play my bishop back, and if it does something else, I believe that I can still just take on e7, and then rook h1 is mate. Okay, this is weird. I'm going to take that too. Yeah. The reason for this puzzle not to continue is that if the king goes to h6, there's a lot of different options. I have both rook g3 and rook g2, which wins in 2 moves. So I kind of dislike these puzzles for not integrating more than one move order, or one move. If there's several great moves, like in this case, both rook g3 and rook g2. So rook g4 doesn't work due to the fact that the king can come to h5. And then I would have to play something like f3 or rook g2 or rook to g7. Rook g7 wouldn't work either. Alright, but still, I think it would be very fun to actually have the ability to play several moves and play things like this out. So that's something I would encourage chess.com to actually integrate into their puzzles, but I don't think they will, because they have so many puzzles that actually are this way. So I think they think that it works quite all right, and probably it does. So queen takes e4. Alright, this is going to be the last one. So I have a couple of options here, although black is threatening to mate me in 3. I believe it's 3. So no, isn't it? 2. Yeah, 2. Alright. So I have to be a bit careful about that. If you want to find out where black can, how black can checkmate me, just think about it for a second. So it's queen c2 check, king e1, and then queen captures e2 mate. So I have to do something about that. But I have an attack on my own here, don't I? So I would like to play queen d7 check, but after king b6, I'm not sure how I'm gonna go ahead and provoke anything else. I mean, I could win the queen maybe. No, I can't even do that. Queen d7 check, king b6. And I don't see the follow-up there. Rook h6, rook a6 doesn't work. Knight captures a6, rook captures a6 check, king captures a6, and there's no follow-up. And I have to deal every single piece with a check. I have to move every single piece with a check, or else I'm going to get mated myself. If I give black one free move, I'm going to get checkmated. Or lose material, at least, if I play something like rook a6. So let's look at rook a7 check, then king b6, then rook b7 check. That doesn't work. Alright, let's say queen e7 check, king b6, queen a7 check, king c6, king c6, yeah. And then rook a6 check, knight captures a6, rook captures a6, king to d5, queen b7 check, king to c4, and I can win the queen. Okay, I think I got it. Oh my god, I'm using the touchpad on this computer, so it's not the greatest thing to do. But yeah, there's nothing else to consider here really. Queen b7. I can take the queen, or I could try to mate him, but I don't see a mate here. Every square is occupied by a black piece, or guarded by a black piece. So yeah, let's just take the queen. Problem solved. Okay. So I used a lot of time on that last puzzle as well. And the reason for that is that I didn't see... Well, I looked at queen a7 briefly, but I didn't see what else to do after king c6. And since I don't have queen to b7 check, because the king can just capture on b7, I didn't know how I would win the queen on e4. But I saw that that was an idea, but I didn't really see how I would follow it up. But rook a6 just does that for me. So combining those elements that I just looked at, I saw different motives, and I saw that the queen was hanging if I could manage to give a check on that diagonal. And I also saw that he gets checkmated if he goes to b8 or tries to do anything else, if it's possible to do anything else. I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So we did pretty well today. We actually didn't fail at any puzzles. Thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, please subscribe down below, and comment down below, and do whatever you'd like down below. I don't know. You can do whatever you'd like. Bye guys.